The underground MMA warehouse in downtown Phoenix roared with raw energy long before the first fight of the night began. Neon lights flickered against steel beams, the crowd pressed close to the cage, and the smell of sweat and cheap beer clung to the air like a second skin. Fighters paced backstage, blasting music, wrapping hands, tightening mouthguards, and psyching themselves up for war. It was the kind of place where pain was currency, and only the toughest survived. At the center of it all stood Mason the Anvil Riker. 6 feet 4, 250 pounds of sculpted muscle, undefeated in the underground fight circuit for 2 years straight. His fists were slabs of stone, his jaw square as a concrete block, and his confidence, no, arrogance, filled any room he entered. Mason didn't just win fights. He humiliated opponents. Broke noses. Broke egos. Broke careers. Tonight, he wanted entertainment. He stood in the middle of the ring, microphone in hand, grinning at the audience like a king surveying peasants. "Listen up," he shouted, voice booming over the speakers. "I'm bored. None of these wannabes are a challenge." The crowd erupted, cheering, booing, some laughing nervously. Because Mason wasn't lying. He had demolished every fighter on tonight's roster during practice rounds alone. "So here's the deal," Mason continued, raising one thick finger. "I'll give $1 million, he dragged the phrase out slowly, letting the crowd gasp and whisper. "To anyone who can beat me in the cage tonight." The spectators exploded, phones shot up, and desperate fighters exchanged looks. $1 million? For one fight, Mason smirked. "But I'm warning you, if you step in here, you won't walk out the same. If you walk out at all." The warehouse buzzed like a hornet's nest. People started pushing forward, some fighters thinking about the money, others thinking about the fame. But then Mason added the part he found funniest. "Oh, and one more thing," his eyes sparkled with cruel amusement. "If you're under 150 pounds, don't even try. I'm not fighting children." The crowd laughed, some even chanting his name. Mason thrived on it, but in the far corner of the warehouse, away from the lights and noise, someone else heard the challenge. A girl. A quiet one. She stood with her back against a steel pillar, put up, hands tucked into the pockets of her plain gray jacket. She was small. Slim. Barely 5'4". She wasn't drinking, yelling, hyping herself up, or even making herself visible. She was just observing. Her name was Riley Hayes. To the people here, she looked like nothing more than a short college student who wandered into the wrong building. But to the United States military, she was something far more dangerous. She was a Navy SEAL instructor. A ghost walker. A close combat specialist who trained the men who trained the elite, and right now, she was bored. Riley hadn't come here to fight. She came because her friend, Maya, begged her to check out the underground MMA scene for fun. Maya had been talking about Mason for weeks, calling him a monster, a tank, and a beast whose ego was bigger than his biceps. Riley shrugged at the time. Everyone bleeds. But after watching him humiliate other fighters, mock them, hurt them long after the bell, she felt a small ember of annoyance spark behind her ribs. His arrogance was loud enough to echo, and Riley didn't like loud. Maya nudged her now. Hey Riley, don't even think about it." Riley raised an eyebrow. "Think about what?" "Oh come on," Maya hissed. "Don't you dare get in that ring. Yeah, he's an idiot, but he's huge. He'll see you and just laugh?" Riley guessed, yes. Laugh. And then crush you. Riley tilted her head slightly, studying Mason as he flexed for the crowd. "He won't laugh long." Maya grabbed her arm. "Riley, no. Seriously. This guy's insane. He's injured I think at least 5 fighters this month. Badly. This is not worth proving a point." Riley's gaze stayed on Mason. "I don't want to prove a point." "Then why would you even? What are you doing?" Because Riley had already stepped away, she moved with that quiet, controlled confidence that made Maya panic instantly. Riley pushed her hood back, revealing calm eyes and a face that didn't match the brutality of the environment. Her long dark hair was tied in a low, simple braid, nothing flashy. Nothing threatening. At least not to anyone who didn't know the truth. Maya whispered desperately, "Riley. I am begging you, he weighs twice and no, almost 3 times what you weigh." Riley paused mid-step and answered plainly, "That's his problem." Then she walked straight toward the cage. The crowd didn't notice her at first. Too many people, too many phones, too many loud voices cheering for Mason's challenge. But when Riley slipped between 2 large men at the front and hopped lightly onto the edge of the cage entrance, the room's energy shifted, confused whispers pointing. A couple laughs. "Is she lost? Bro, she looks like she's here for tutoring. No way she's fighting. No chance." Mason saw her. At first, he blinked in confusion. Then the amusement spread across his face like wildfire. "Oh, you've got to be kidding me." Riley stepped under the ropes, hands still in her pockets. She wasn't shaking, sweating, or trying to hype herself up. She simply stood in the middle of the cage, facing Mason as if she just walked into a grocery store. Calm, still unbothered. Mason laughed so hard he doubled over. This is who's challenging me. Yo, is this a prank? Did someone order DoorDash? The crowd burst out laughing. Someone shouted, make sure she signs a waiver. She's gonna need a hospital bed. Mason wiped tears from his eyes. Sweetheart, listen. I don't hit women. Okay? I'm not that kind of guy. Riley replied, voice soft but razor sharp, good. Because if you threw a punch, you'd break your wrist. The crowd gasped. Mason blinked. Once. Twice. Then the amusement faded. Oh. You're one of those mouthy ones. He stepped forward, towering over her. Look, I don't want to send you home in an ambulance, alright? Just step out. Go back to whatever yoga class you escaped from. Riley shrugged. Are you forfeiting the match? Mason stiffened. Forfeiting? Against you? She nodded. I understand. Fear can be, what did you just say? His voice hitched dangerously. You're afraid. Riley said it like she was commenting on the weather. It happens when ego meets reality. The warehouse went still. Mason's nostrils flared. His jaw flexed. And the sponsors, egged on by the crowd's sudden hunger, called out, let her fight. Do it, Anvil. $1 million, bro. Don't run. Mason gritted his teeth. He couldn't back down now. Not in front of hundreds of people. Not with a live stream running. Not when a tiny girl was calling him a coward. Fine, he growled. But when this is over, don't say I didn't warn you. Riley finally removed her hands from her pockets. Her stance was relaxed. Left foot slightly forward. Body angled. Hands barely raised. It looked wrong to every MMA fighter in the building. Too loose. Too unprotected. Too casual, but to someone trained in military combatives, it was perfect. Mason circled her like a lion ready to crush a kitten. He cracked his knuckles, rolled his shoulders, and smirked. Last chance to walk away. Riley blinked once. The bell, please. The referee, confused but trapped by the momentum, raised his hand. Fighters ready? Riley didn't move. Mason snorted. I'll make it quick. Fight. The bell rang. Mason lunged forward, ready to grab her, lift her, and slam her through the mat, but Riley wasn't there. She moved like smoke. A slip. A pivot. A step to the side so small and efficient it made Mason stumble past her. The crowd roared with laughter. Mason snarled and spun. Lucky. He charged again, throwing a punch that would have ended the match instantly if it landed. It didn't. Riley dipped under it, her body flowing like water around a stone. Then, she tapped his ribs with 2 fingers, just a tap, but Mason flinched like someone jabbed him with a needle. What the Riley's voice was almost bored. Your liver. It's exposed when you overextend. Mason's face reddened. Stop talking like you know something. He lunged again. He never touched her. 3 steps. 3 slips. 3 angles he'd never seen in any MMA ring, and then a single open palm strike to his sternum, soft, precise, surgical. Mason flew backward like a sack of cement. The cage rattled. The crowd went silent. Maya screamed. Riley hadn't even broken a sweat. Mason gasped, clutching his chest. What are you? Riley stepped closer, voice low enough that only he could hear. Someone you should have never underestimated. The crowd leaned in. Phones zoomed. Mason struggled to stand, dizzy, shocked, enraged. Riley waited calm, still unmoved, and the crowd realized, slowly, terrifyingly, that the girl wasn't lucky, she was lethal.